Welcome to Eye on America. I'm Michelle Miller. Today we explore ways the military and other organizations are supporting troops and their families on and off the battlefield. In D.C., we spotlight a program empowering veterans with business skills to kickstart new careers. And in Missouri, we see how one nonprofit is partnering with Budweiser's iconic Clydesdales to help families of deceased and disabled service members. But we begin with a look at how the Navy is taking steps for a more inclusive future. In 2010, the branch reversed its policy that prohibited women from serving on submarines. Now, more than 730 female sailors work on these vessels. Charlie D'Agata takes us aboard the USS New Jersey, the first sub designed with women in mind.
The USS New Jersey made waves when it was commissioned.
Does it feel like you're taking part in something historic?
Yeah. It does, actually, because I am the first female on this boat to qualify an engine room supervisor.
This is machinist mate Kiana Gonzalez's first submarine. She showed us the tight quarters, but she's focused on the mission and getting promoted.
What are you expecting in the weeks and months ahead?
Well, I should be the next person to be in charge of my division.
The Navy lifted the ban on women on submarines back in 2010, retrofitting bathrooms and sleeping quarters to accommodate them.
Less than 5 minutes, we're beneath the waves.
The New Jersey's crew, however, is historic. Stephen Holley is the commanding officer of 135 crew members aboard the New Jersey.
I have about 40 women on board, which there's no other fast attack submarine with that volume of women part of their crew.
And what's it feel like to be part of that?
It's great. Studies have shown that, fully integrated and diverse crew, they just perform better, up to 15 or 20% better.
Why do you think that is?
If we have everyone thinking the exact same way, we end up with one school of thought. Having all genders, all races, really brings an additional level of perspective.
As more women join the submarine force, the Navy says they're bringing important capabilities.
Integration is not just vital to problem solving, but is a warfighting necessity.
Lieutenant Victoria Meyer is the Navy's Women in Submarines coordinator.
When I was on the USS New Jersey, I was one of just a couple female officers, and now almost half the wardroom is female officers who are absolutely crushing it out there.
The crew of every Navy ship has to work as a team. On a submarine, it's mission critical.
Anyone that doesn't agree women should be in the submarine force has to ask themselves why they would think about that. Is it because they have a notion that women are not capable? Because that is not true. Is it a notion that, men can't conduct themselves around women? Because that is not true. It's an archaic way of thinking.
The New Jersey is the most advanced fast attack submarine in the fleet.
Showing tip 2.
Capable of carrying a payload of a dozen Tomahawk cruise missiles and 24 torpedoes. The kind of firepower the submarine USS John Warner used against Syrian targets in 2018. As the New Jersey heads out into sometimes uncertain waters, its skipper believes the women submariners have brought more than warfighting skills to his crew.
Thank you.
I've learned things from the ladies on the ship. I think they've taught me most to have grace and compassion. Their talent and their professionalism is matched to the rest of the crew.
Oh, thank you.
Aboard the USS New Jersey, grace and compassion are giving new meaning to the Navy's saying, forged by the sea.
We turn now to another way the military is updating its technology to better suit modern conflicts. One unit in Louisiana is testing innovative drones and robotics to advance electronic warfare on the battlefield. Here again is Charlie D'Agata.
Deep in the backwoods of Louisiana, an experimental unit of 101st Airborne soldiers are setting out.
Any strike element, this is Chaos 4-6.
With cutting-edge technology. Sergeant First Class Anthony Clark says his unit is exploring a new way of fighting.
How much of this are you doing on the fly? Almost all of it, but it's good. That's why we're here. We're to create those tactics. We're to create those standard operating procedures so that the next generation of soldiers understands from our mistakes and can be even more effective with the systems.
Those systems include both surveillance drones and attack drones, decoys and jammers, directed by laptops or a cell phone app.
616, go terminal.
Some of the innovations come from lessons drawn directly from the battlefields of Ukraine, where electronic warfare is advancing by the minute on both sides of the fight. Now, the 101st ride looks like something out of Mad Max.
Even in World War II, they were using brand new equipment, brand new methods, and they were extremely successful, and they learned from their mistakes.
The 101st Airborne Division went into action during World War II. The Screaming Eagles were among the first Americans to descend into France on D-Day. Once again, everything is changing. The command post, well hidden in the trees, is minuscule, a fraction of the size Major General Brett Sylvia commanded 10 years ago.
My command post was 10 different tents, 40 different vehicles, all kinds of huge radars and antennas that were everywhere. It was easy to see and therefore easy to kill.
And in today's environment, the art of deception goes beyond face paint and camouflage. It's running fiber optic cables to antennas hundreds of yards away from the command center. Then spreading out decoys, off-the-shelf circuit boards made to look like laptops, cell phones.
Just the other night, the enemy was completely deceived by that and put an artillery barrage on just a bunch of decoys that were out in a field, and then this command post stayed safe and sound.
I think you said it wasn't like hiding a needle in a haystack. It was
hiding a needle in a stack of needles.
They're also experimenting with robotic vehicles controlled by Lieutenant Parker Mitchell.
Is this the future?
Yes, sir, it absolutely is.
And why?
Why? Because there's no reason to trade blood for blood when we can trade blood for steel.
Putting that steel to work on future battlefields, specialist William Bateman says, will not be without its challenges and rewards.
I mean, it gives me chills thinking about it, that right now we're in the middle of molding the future and participating in history being made. It's absolutely stunning.
And not your grandfather's 101st.
Nope, definitely not.
Now, a new generation is putting innovation to the test on the battlefields of the future.
Coming up, inside a program offering vets and their spouses training to make their dreams come true. This is Eye on America. Welcome back. Readjusting to civilian life can be a major challenge for many former soldiers. But one veteran-focused bakery in D.C. called Dog Tag is helping them through the transition. They provide a months-long entrepreneurship fellowship that offers veterans and their loved ones structure and opportunities to succeed in business and life. I recently visited a farm that got its start thanks to the program and sat down with Dog Tag's CEO to discuss their impact on veterans.
That's where they store honey and pollen.
At Fields for Valor Farms in Brandywine, Maryland. Hi, ladies. Commitment is key. How hard is it to catch a chicken?
Well, it depends. You do have to commit to it. There you go. Nice.
That wasn't so hard, was it? Peter Scott founded this farm to grow produce for hungry veterans. But the idyllic setting is far from the battlefields he was trained for.
You right, Pete? I joined the Army in 1999. I was stationed to Germany. Went to Afghanistan, where I was attached to Special Forces teams as a counterintelligence agent.
Here is Afghanistan. This is where I live.
When he came back, Scott found it difficult to leave the front lines behind.
It caught up with me. It wasn't until after we had our child that I started having some flashbacks. I was having flashbacks related to small children crying. Combination of just really late at night, taking care of a baby and just disappearing into a place.
It's happening while you're wide awake.
Yeah.
How did you learn to cope with it?
Well, I went to an inpatient program for PTSD. Took some time off. I started beekeeping. I started gardening. Anything that would just sort of keep me in the present moment.
A friend told Scott about an entrepreneurship program for veterans at a bakery in Washington, D.C. It was a chance to turn his passion for farming into something more.
Fields for Valor Farms was born out of the program. I asked at the counter, I was like, hey, you know, I'm a veteran. Somebody told me about the program. Could I talk to anybody? And Megan Ogilvie came down.
These are sugar cookies.
It's at that same counter where we met Megan Ogilvie, Dog Tag's CEO.
Oh, you got involved there. You got real involved.
Ogilvie was drawn to Dog Tag's mission, having been raised in a military family. Today, she runs the 5-month-long program that's taught vets like Scott how to translate battle skills into business and life skills.
It's black and white in the military. They tell you where to live, they tell you when to move, they tell you what to wear, how to wear it, and that's why it's so efficient, right? And then you move out, and now you're wearing a blazer, and you know you're at a job fair, and that identity is gone.
I had lost my sense of community.
Nana Obioha was one of hundreds to go through the program's business and storytelling classes and mindfulness trainings as well.
Every veteran that I met in my cohort had different stories, different backgrounds, different jobs, but we were the same through service, right? Having that shoulder to lean on was super beneficial in picking up my pieces.
Picking up the pieces. That's exactly what former Army helicopter pilot Ann Barlieb was after when she joined, following a divorce, health issues, and ultimately a suicide attempt. She says Dog Tag helped her accept her physical limits while embracing what still made her, her.
Megan with her cheery, like, come on, have a seat down here in this booth. Come and sit down with us. I can't remember the words she used, and it doesn't even matter because she is who she is, and this program is what it is. She said, you can't do this, but here's what we see. You're a brilliant writer. You give wonderful advice. She told me the truth, but she didn't make me feel alone in a truth that was hard to accept.
Oh man, that was, I hope this is not, yeah, that's, I feel totally, insufficient. The fact that I just get to be part of this is it's a gift. And you know, not everyone gets the opportunity to really find their calling. Every day I show up, I get to feel that. And how fortunate am I?
Ahead, a beloved mascot accepts a noble mission for families of fallen soldiers. That story is next. Welcome back. Budweiser's iconic Clydesdale horses have warmed audiences' hearts for generations. And for more than a decade, they've joined forces with Folds of Honor, a nonprofit that provides scholarships to the families of fallen and disabled service members. Dana Jacobson paid a visit to the horses' training ranch to see how these stunning animals support the group's mission.
This is how most of America thinks of the Budweiser Clydesdales. Iconic stars of Anheuser-Busch Super Bowl spots. Standing at more than 6 feet tall and weighing up to 2,200 pounds, the Clydesdales' upbringing and care is a military operation of sorts.
So this is the maternity ward.
Amy Trout oversees it all.
This is where we welcome all the Budweiser Clydesdales into the world.
From the very start.
So these stalls are supersized, because we have super big babies here.
What do they weigh when born?
So they're like 150 pounds when they hit the ground. We actually had one this year that topped the scales 189 pounds.
Oh my, Shaq. You should call that one Shaq.
For 22 years, Trout has helped breed, raise, and train Clydesdales.
This is Millie and Meg.
Their home? The 300-plus acre Warm Springs Ranch in the heart of Missouri.
What are you looking for when you're looking to breed?
We actually run DNA on all of our horses, so we know genetically what colors they will throw, but we also need them to perform. So when you see those guys just pounding the pavement, they got a little extra pep in their step. They got a little flair. They're flashy, right? Well, we can breed that into them.
Are they on a hitch for a certain amount of time, or is it?
In a perfect world, we would welcome them to the hitch at 5 years of age, and we would retire them at 15. So that gives them 10 years of active service. But these horses are athletes, and just like any athlete, They may have shorter or longer careers. They can't all have, you know, decades and decades.
They might be LeBron, they might not.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom Brady, maybe not.
So we cater to each individual horse's needs, and if it's time for them to retire, they retire. If they're good to go, then they'll stay out on the road.
And it's on the road where these gentle giants may do their best work, like at Folds of Honor events around the country. A nonprofit organization providing scholarships for military and first responder families.
Perfect, thank you. Folds of Honor would not be where we're at without Anheuser-Busch, and especially the world's famous Clydesdales. I mean, we get to be...
No better pitch person.
I mean, it's incredible.
Rocky Sickman has worked with Folds of Honor for the last 14 years. A former Marine, Sickman was one of the 66 Americans captured in the 1979 Iran hostage crisis.
I was held for 444 days, and it was 2 Thanksgivings, 2 Christmases. The first 30-plus days, you were tied, not allowed to speak other than your interrogations. It was very challenging, and so it was really a mental, psychological piece.
What do you remember about when you were released and got out?
That night of January 20th, 1981, they came into our room, and whenever they moved us, they would always say, "It's time to go," and they would blindfold us and then tie us. Well, this night, they would blindfold us, but never tied us. And I'm thinking, this is strange. Where are we going? All of a sudden, he takes me down the corridor, stops me, turns me, opens the door, and I felt this cold, fresh air, the simple things that we take for granted. And you heard this sound, a sound that you had prayed for, you had cried for, you had hoped for, sound of an airplane. And you heard the jets start to rev up, and your heart is pounding. You had prayed for this opportunity, just for one last chance to enjoy life again.
A chance Sickman and his fellow hostages would get. After returning home, he learned the details of Operation Eagle Claw, a failed mission to rescue the hostages 8 months before their release.
2 of our American aircraft collided on the ground.
8 people lost their lives trying to come over to regain my freedom.
And those people have played a huge role in your life from that point ever since.
Ever since. Every morning I wake up, I think of those 8 that sacrificed their life for my life. I've got 3 beautiful children. I've gone fishing with my son. I walked my daughters down the aisle. Those are the things that these guys would never have the chance to do.
It is in their honor that Sickman has continued devoting his life to service, including projects like the partnership between Folds of Honor and Anheuser-Busch.
For Folds of Honor to be part of the Clydesdale hitch this year, we can't buy advertising like that, right, Dana. So it's really it's an honor.
Slide that over his head.
It's kind of heavy. Sorry, Rock On, forgive me. I'm new at this.
Oh, he's an old pro. He'll get us through it. There we go. Perfect.
All right.
Chris Weigert, a Clydesdale handler, showed me what it takes to get these legendary horses ready for showtime.
Do they like doing the work?
They do.
Being on the hitch and pull it, like this is part of who they are.
When we start hitching them, getting the harness on, you can see their demeanor change, and they're excited to do what they do. And when the crowd's there, they get energized and amped up. So you can tell that they're ready to do their job and they enjoy it.
And you can see like that they can feel the crowd.
Yes, they feed off of that.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, boys, rock on.
Give me a little history lesson here, because obviously we're in the new era, but this goes back to the 1930s, the Clydesdales?
You know, the Clydesdales were introduced in 1933 when they were gifted to August Busch Sr. to celebrate the repeal of Prohibition. And we're part of a lot of things in American culture, and we're just proud to be part of that.
The training process, what is that like for them?
Oh, so, you know, when they're born, we're just gonna kind of hang out in the pasture with mom until they're weaned at 6 months. Right. Then when they're 3, they're gonna come back to Warm Springs Ranch and learn to pull wagons. And they're gonna be here for a whole year doing that to give them that foundation to hit the road and be a crowd pleaser.
Only then is it time to serve, honoring their own magnificence and that of those around them.
You know Anheuser-Busch so well, and the project that they're doing now with the military.
Oh.
Why is that the right fit?
I think there's nothing more American than Budweiser, the Clydesdales, Folds of Honor. It all fits together just like one giant puzzle. These horses are recognized all over the world Budweiser beer is recognized all over the world, and the Folds of Honor program is so amazing, and it's wonderful to be a part of it. So it definitely hits home for all of us.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't want to give them up.
I know, right? She's so cute. Oh, easy girl.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news, stream us right here on CBS News 24/7. I'm Michelle Miller. Thank you for watching Eye on America.